So Sedna really is a specialist, one of the hidden champions we have in Germany. We talked about this before. And you started as a AV company, digital signage company, exhibition business. I think you were even a subsidiary or at least a department in something. And today you are not only doing a digital signage software, but you're also producing media engines. Quite a ride, huh? How did it come to that? So what is Sedna today and how did you get there?
Yeah, it's a long story. It's like a 20-year journey that we have had so far. We started making software because we needed to. We were systems integrators, and then we started putting things together. And we didn't like it, so we reinvented the wheel, as you want to call it. And for 10 years, we kept on doing that. And we thought, if this is working for us, it might be useful for somebody else. That's how we started Sedna in the first place. And then we tried to sell it, and some people love it.
They still do.
They still do.
Guido, something is very unique about Sedna. You are really, really big in North America.
Yeah.
And the majority of people attending this conference, their goal is this year, next year, I want to get big in America. So, what is the recipe of success? How do you get big in America? Well, don't tell all the details. You want to keep probably a little bit to yourself.
I can't give you all the details. Actually, we found it very easy for us to do that. First of all, you have to understand the mindset of the North American market. There's a different community, there's different socializing, everything is different compared to Europe. And I think we have the capability of understanding that. The second really important thing is how projects are being developed and how projects being executed. That's a totally different story in North America as well. So if you don't have that mindset, you're lost. And the third in the equation is think big, literally think big. And that's what's in our DNA. We always wanted to do bigger and more things and do hundreds and thousands of screens and whatnot. And that also pays off in the end. There's a fourth one, which is quality that you have to deliver there, because the Americans are really spoiled about that, and they like to buy quality products. And I guess we have succeeded that way.
Good. And when you come to Times Square in New York City, there are lots and lots of LEDs.
Yeah, I have pictures and video.
Oh, good.
Yes.
You want to show it to us now?
No, I have one, but let's continue. You have a question about that?
Yeah, well. You have changed. In the past, I remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago when we met the first time, you did like for Deutsche Telekom, you did some of the CeBIT and IFA boosters and stuff like it, and it was always Mac-driven and stuff like it. But you've moved away from being a Mac-based company, because I think at that time you really loved the Mini Mac and the round ones, the really Power Mac, what they called or so. And you have moved to a special part of the market, these immersive lobby and store experiences with huge media engines. So are you still a software company? Are you a media engine company? Are you a mix of that? What are you?
I think the right term would be solutions company, because in our heart we make software. We didn't want to make hardware. Actually, we asked a lot of people to build that for us, and they all said, no, that's too complicated. And so we had to build it ourselves. And then we found a partner in Germany that makes them, manufactures them for us. We don't want to do that, but we have to in order to get the quality that's needed. And we'll see some of the examples where that's actually paying off, and they can't do this with anything else. From our perspective anyway. Some people tried, and then they get ripped out and we get pushed in, so that's good.
So what are your favorite projects?
I have a long list of these. Actually, we could use the whole evening. Maybe we can talk about this in the beer garden later on. I have compiled a couple of slides that I would like to show with you.
Go ahead.
I shall share with you and show you.
Stage is yours.
Hey, Sedna, I see that. That's great. Industries, we do. So this is actually the first project we ever did in the United States. Somebody called me on my cell phone and said, look, I've seen your advertising in the back of Macworld magazine. I have this project in Times Square in New York City. It's going to be huge. Do you want to be part of it? I love Macs. I hate PCs. And I said, great, you're in. So that guy called me before my software was out on the market. This particular sign went on to be live in September 2008. And at that time, it was the tallest LED sign in Times Square. That was the first thing we did there. And then by word of mouth, some other people understood that there was a certain thing that we did better than the other guys. So we took over, one sign at a time. And by now we have about 3/4 of all signs in Times Square that are being played back with our software. It changes, it varies. Sometimes, some other tenants get in there and put in whatever they want. Then they might come back to us and whatnot. There's a new thing coming up, it's called TSX. It's a great, great thing where the LED wall can be retracted to have
like a stage, right?
Stage. It's great, wonderful. It's our stuff as well. But these moments that we can see here is actually what always gets me in awe when I'm there, the takeover. This experience is pretty unique. In this particular exercise, there's about 40 screens that are being driven by our software and synchronized, and we do this pretty well, as you can see. It's really perfectly synchronized. And this is really something. If you have the capability of getting there and experiencing one of these takeovers, that's stunning. And then
so stop.
Yes.
40 of these LED screens are managed by your software?
Yeah, there's more. Actually, we have like 80 or 90 or something like that. But these 40 have been synchronized at that time. This is a long time ago, actually. It was 5 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So this is the largest, the highest resolution LED in Times Square, and that is an interesting and unique experience for me as well, because there was a different system that the tenant had chosen. They tried for 1 year and they failed miserably. They called us and we sent our server in, and because they were so grateful, we were allowed to have 1 day of free advertising in Times Square on this particular sign. So we took the opportunity, put something together, and then I stood there and with my camera and try to capture that thing. So happy anniversary, thanks to all of our customers and the great things that we've doing there. And actually TSX is right next door. So when you take a look at this on the other side, there's another building and they're building this right now, and that's going to be even higher resolution.
So that's the SNA one, right? The SNA.
That's SNA, and SNA is doing the other project as well.
Yep.
Great partners. Okay, good. Enough of that. This is wonderful. I love this art. Fine arts. This is the JR Chronicles of San Francisco. Was an exhibition piece at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. Huge LED wall. A wonderful and very particular artist. This is the video wall is about 20K, and the video resolution is 30K, and we had to move it under the pixels, if you want to call it like that. It was very particular about animating these things. It's painstakingly hand-painted. There's 23,000 PNG files in this particular exhibition piece. It's mind-boggling. 6 months, they took it off, and now it's gone. Actually, they stored it somewhere. They're supposed to be putting it back.
It's not very sustainable.
Not very. Yeah, this is something I really like as well. It was our first customer in Berlin, and after we've done the first couple of LED walls, they said, look, this is working so well, we do everything with you. So the whole Mercedes-Benz arena has been driven by our stuff. This is a great customer, and they also had a different CMS, and they needed help because they couldn't get the quality on their huge LED walls. I don't know if you're familiar with that company, but they have these towers all over the place, all over the world. And in San Francisco and at Mission Street, they have 4 of these towers, which is kind of interesting, and they have huge LED lobbies. And this is one of the very infamous waterfall things that they've done with a great company from San Francisco, and because they invested so much in LED, they wanted the best possible playback system, and they took a look at what they had, and it was okay, but they wanted to shop for something else, and then they found us. So this is what it looks like, and it's really interesting when you see this in action. We call this immersive lobby spaces, because if you walk in there, it's just massive, and depending on the art that you play back, there's not advertising. As you can see, this is an art piece of a Turkish artist called
Refik Anadol.
Refik Anadol, exactly, thank you.
He was at ISE, you all remember, hopefully?
Yes, great artist, and so he's using our engine to play it back, pre-rendered things. He also has a real-time thing, but it is really immersive. When you stand there, it's wow. It's great that Salesforce does that, actually.
And in summer, they can even open the facade. It's really great. I mean, so in summer, it really feels like you're walking in this, like part of the cityscape. It's really cool.
Yeah, and Salesforce is one of the companies that we really like, because they think big, they think massive. This particular lobby space is 12,000 pixels wide. And it spans the whole lobby. It's like crazy. And they like that. And they create art pieces for that. And they have exhibits there. And they want to make it interactive. And we'll talk about that later on. This is just a what they call a town hall where they have meetings and whatnot. So you can have multiple presentations and have art pieces as well. Also high resolution, 8,000 pixels wide. In this particular building, we have 9 LED walls. And the largest one is 11,000 pixels wide. It's in New York City in the Salesforce Tower. Then there's a smaller one in Atlanta, a couple of LED walls in Indianapolis, and more in Tokyo, and some more in Sydney. This is a huge and great art piece. I love that too. This is really marvelous. I've never been there in person. I couldn't take pictures of this one because I haven't been there. I haven't been to London for the last 2 years. Salesforce Tower in London is using it. They have 3 LED walls. And a new one is coming up actually in August. Well, we're supposed to be there in August anyway to install all that, the wonderful red boxes as we call them. And they will have 5 LED walls with great resolution there as well. And, oops, spoiler alert. That was spoiler alert. No, why we like companies like Salesforce, they invest in an experience, and they want to make sure that anybody who sees their pieces actually get immersed into the space and are really welcomed that way. And they think big, they think large, worldwide. We did a demo with them 1.5 years ago. Exchanged one of their servers that they had with our computer, and then a couple of months later, I think it was 2 months later, they called us and said, okay, look, we're going to keep on going. We need the backup, and then we need everything from here going on worldwide. Thank you very much, Salesforce. Appreciate that. And this is only possible because we have great partners in the United States. I mean, we're located in Berlin. It needs to be installed. Yes, we get over there, and we do that sometimes, which is great too. But we have wonderful partners like the LED manufacturer in this instance. It's called, they're called SNA, Sansi North America. Great people, wonderful, compatible people, same mindset as we have, and it's just wonderful and terrific to work with them, and also with the customers, of course. I actually was in San Francisco 3 weeks ago. To sit down with them and talk about the future. That's my little run through the projects. I'm not sure if I. Oh, we still have time.
We're still fine. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You ran through the last one.
Shall I go slower? Shall we do it again?
Too fast. Especially the undisclosed customer. We're not talking about the project itself, but what kind of, are they using different micro LED nowadays, or what is their latest thing? The thing seems to get smaller. For the time, they were really, really big, like dominating the store.
Yes.
Now it seems like the latest designs, the latest stores, the wall is a little bit smaller and more standard aspect ratio or so?
Yes, so they have a new store design, interim, I would call it, because the art is changing pretty rapidly. So they have stores where they actually just have big TVs, 2 big TVs instead of the LED wall. They still are rolling out LED walls, and they do have some micro LEDs, but they're phasing it out. Actually, they're storing them in the warehouse because the quality is frustrating, I would say, for them at least. And so they settled with a different manufacturer now, and they're experimenting all the time. So it's changing, and every now and then we get a call, hey, we need to do some software adjustments. Can you help us? And no, go, please leave us. No, which of course we do. And for instance, we implemented something that was quite interesting. Everybody knows AirPlay, right? So you can AirPlay something to your TV or to your Mac nowadays, which is wonderful, but the limitation is you can only have one device streaming to that. So we developed something actually for them, so they can have multiple devices at the same time streaming to that wall. And there's no limitation there either. But that's funny that people like these companies ask us to help them in very novel ways, and we're always excited about that. Sometimes it's easy for us to do. Sometimes we have to neglect it and say this is a little too hard or out of our scope. We don't have the resources and blah blah. But usually it works really well.
Your media engines, the streaming service, lobby of the streaming service. Yep. I'm not sure if
Can you please put the slide back on, because there's one more thing.
One more thing.
Yeah, slides, boom. That's it. You were talking.
Exactly. That's the one I want to talk about.
We didn't discuss that before, but I thought I should have that picture in handy just in case.
You told me for the streaming service, and before you came in, they had like a huge rack, right? Like half a room of media servers or equipment, video processors, everything. And you basically put everything in one box, which is like 5
5 RU. The reason is not the display, the reason is the gigantic cooling mechanism inside of it to make it really failure-proof, because this needs to run in Times Square and in all these other spaces. Yeah, but yes, we just ripped it out, put ours in, and be done with it.
So what's inside? I mean, what makes it so special? Obviously, it's quite powerful.
Yeah,
is it 10 times more powerful than the standard media player, 100 times, or is it a video processor? Or where is your USP? What are you guys doing different in Berlin than most of your competitors?
When we took a look at the media servers out there, they were all good and fine. And I told my team, look, I want the latest and the greatest and most powerful desktop processor. And I want the latest and the greatest and most powerful graphics card. And I want the latest and the greatest enterprise-grade SSDs and great components in there. You can't see the back here, and I don't have a picture of that, unfortunately. But we have Neutrik plugs on the back. So everything needs to be really the best of the best. And that's what we put together. And we said we can't settle for anything else, because this guy needs to do 8K P60. It actually can do double of that, but it doesn't really matter. So we have 32 core processors in there, and then there's lots of memories and whatnot. So we tailored the system and actually tweaked the graphics kernel and the drivers to our liking, so that we can pinpoint everything that's needed on the graphics cards. And we did some major overhaul of our rendering engine, so it actually renders something and decodes on the GPU. We do ProRes decoding on the GPU, which is nobody else does that, I guess. Not even Apple. They have the little chip which does it well, but nevertheless. So that's something we tried to put in there, as much effort as we could, to make sure that there is a differentiator. And if you put it in, you'll be happy.
This is made in Germany?
Yes, this is made in Germany.
Schwarzwald, yes. Black Forest.
Yes, Black Forest.
Cool,
exactly.
cool. Good.
Designed in Berlin, made in Black Forest.
So what is the maximum resolution you can manage from?
You can stack these, which is also a novelty. You can put up to 16 of those together and have up to 64 UHD outputs, perfectly frame synchronized. I mean, frame synchronized. We're not talking about any tearing or whatnot. This is perfect. So you can scale it. The most exhaustive system that we've ever put together has 4 of these units. We're still waiting for customers to come in to put in larger LEDs. So please, bring them up. We're ready.
That's pretty cool. Any questions?
So I think that's enough of that.
I think it's more powerful than SoC. I think we can agree on this.
Yep. Yes. Well, we'll see how that takes us, actually, because we're very excited. We would love to have more powerful SoC chips like Apple M1 or Apple M2, which are great chips, but we can't have direct access to them. We have to go through the operating system, which throttles it down. We'd love to do that, and love to see more SoCs if they get actually powerful. We don't need that media engine for all of its glory at all times.
Guido, I think it was really insightful, and you're like the Rolls Royce of the digital signage industry in regards to performance, and you're doing fantastic things most people probably have seen about, but never knew who's behind it and who's managing and operating it. So thanks a lot for that, and you're still here tonight, so yes, people can ask questions and talk with you and talk about these customers we're not allowed to speak to in public, but thanks a lot, Guido. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys tonight.